Welcome to another episode of the Journeys of Not So Ordinary People podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Dr. Dave Peltz, and joining me is my fearless co-leader, Dr. Joe Hamlett. How you doing today, Dr. Joe?
I'm doing good, man. It seems like every week when it's your turn, you're excited. So I feel like I'm letting everybody down when I do my introductions. I guess I'll have to take some notes from you, but I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
That's awesome. Well, we'd like to welcome everyone again to our show. Thank you for joining us. We love to have everyone, all of our viewers and listeners, thanking you for joining us and listening in and tuning in. This week's topic is personal board of advisors. Now, it's not bored as in we're bored, there's or dull or something like that. Personal board of advisors. So that's going to be our topic for today. And with that, I'm going to throw the hot potato over to Joe and ask Joe, what are your thoughts on personal board of advisors?
That's different.
It is different.
It really is different in reference to what we've done in previous episodes, but I really
Mhm.
like it because when we think of any type of board, we think of board of directors for companies, but to have your own personal board of advisors, that's pretty unique, but
Mm,
I think it's a nice play on words in
yeah.
reference to what we do and what we talk about. Because actually, in the military, my last position, I was basically a senior enlisted advisor in the military, and so I understand the concept of board of directors or board of advisors, and so to have your own personal board of advisors, where do we go with that? So what I think of when I think of having your own personal board of advisors is mentors, coaches that assist you in your journey, whether it's your personal journey, your professional journey, or even your um, health journey, just anything to do with someone helping you or assisting you as you go along your way, whether it's
Mhm.
your personal brand, again, whether it's your professional or personal. I just really think that's pretty cool. But I think of it as, and we've said this many times before, many in different episodes about the idea of having different mentors, not just one mentor, but having multiple mentors, personal mentors, professional mentors, even health mentors, people that can
Mhm.
help you in whatever in every aspect of your life. So to have, people you can call on at any given time to help you through certain situations is a great idea. So that's what I think of when I think of personal advisors, those people that help you along the way. Because we've
Mhm.
said this before too, we don't do any of this alone.
Yeah.
If you are, say, for instance, professional, you want to be a director, a VP of an organization, who are you going to reach out to? Are you going to reach out to your peers that are still maybe looking at the same goals that you are and trying to figure it out themselves? Or are you going to go to someone who has that experience or past experience that you can glean from? Same thing if you have a personal goal in your health. Are you going to go to the couch potato that's watching TV, watching football games and eating chips and beer, or are you going to go to someone who's maybe prominent in the health industry where they've won awards and recognition for their ability? So to have those type of people on your own personal board of advisors is very cool. So that's what I think of when I think of personal board of advisors. Those people
That's an
help
awesome start, Joe.
you.
That is really awesome. There's a lot to look at there, and I like how you mentioned you don't have to have just one mentor. We've talked about this in the past, and generally, I'm going to say generally speaking, from my past experience, I've had coaches and mentors, and it's usually one at a time. One
Right.
for this, and I focus on that one thing. But to your point, you can have a coach and mentor for fitness, one for diet, one
Yep.
for your current position, one for future positions, one for goals. I mean, and that's where we're kind of extending the idea of coaches and mentors. It's not just a one or two type thing, one for your health and one for your job, or one for your fitness and one for your job. We're really talking about, like you said, that personal board of advisors, that group of individuals, the multiple coaches and mentors that
Right.
are there at your disposal. And I think that is a very interesting concept because it really helps you to move forward on many avenues at the same time versus
Right.
just
Yep.
one. And normally we would think, well, you have to really focus in on one thing and get that. And if you spread yourself out, you're not giving that one thing everything you've got or all your full attention and focus. But that's not necessarily true because if you're not a fitness coach owner, you can have a fitness coach or fitness mentor, and that's a different aspect from maybe your current job in corporate America or retail or whatever it is. So you can move both things along at the same time because when you're not doing one, you can do the other. And
Right.
maybe you're getting a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 out of it, by having that one or two or three or four mentors and coaches. You can be doing multiple things at the same time, and you're really
Absolutely.
propelling yourself forward in the direction that you want to go instead of saying, well, I have to do this first, and then before I can do the other thing. You don't it doesn't have to be sequential. You can do them at the same time. And
Right.
it's a perspective that um I think is very valuable. You can save yourself a lot of time. You can use the crossover skills and knowledge to really catapult yourself forward because instead of relying on one thing and one advisor, you have many advisors and you're using that collective knowledge to push you forward and propel you forward. And just now you're taking that boat down the river and you're steering the boat instead of just paddling or just
Right.
waiting.
Right. No, I like I like what you said. Just about the idea that you're able to do multiple things at once. Because typically we do think of, okay, I've got to hit this milestone, then go to the next one. But why can't we think of doing all these things collectively?
Yeah,
Uh,
you can
it
have
go,
a career and a family. You don't have to have a
Absolutely.
career
Yeah.
or
It's
a
not one or
family.
the other.
Yeah,
And that, we always talk about the work life balance.
right.
And this is one example where you can benefit on all aspects of your life.
Absolutely.
It really comes down to, again, doing that critical self reflection where you are today,
Mhm.
and then seeing where you want to go, and then figuring out how you're going to get there. And that's all part of that. So if you again decide that I want to be a director VP in my professional career, I want to, change my, eating habits and be more healthy. I can do that too.
Mhm.
And then I also want to, again, maybe do some personal development. I can do all of those things because,
Mhm.
like we've said before, we can pick and choose those things that matter to us. Those things we can maybe put more emphasis on one or the other, but we can
Mhm.
do them all at the same time, which
Yeah.
again, I don't think we look at it that way. We typically look at, well, I can't have too many things on my plate. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, we can. I mean, if I think back to a lot of the things that I've done, especially in the last 15 or 20 years, it was doing all of those things together
Yeah.
collectively and not waiting
We
on the
had
next
families,
thing.
we had careers, we
Absolutely.
had, our education, we had,
Right.
we
Absolutely.
are approaching our lives and our journeys through multiple perspectives and multiple lanes and
Right.
avenues at the same time. I
Yep.
kind of correlate this a little bit or liken it to applying for a job. If you're a job seeker, do you apply for one position and then wait, 3 days to 3 months
Right.
to get a
Yep.
decision, then look for the next one? No, you typically are putting your information out there to multiple opportunities. And that's very similar. We have multiple opportunities in our lives. So why not have multiple coaches and mentors?
Capitalize on that.
And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. No,
exactly.
again, you know, we've done it, but just to now say it out loud and to really talk about it, uh, it 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 is an actuality that it can be done. And like Dave
Mhm.
said, we both experienced this. Raising a family, military commitment, going to school, all these things at the same time, and we both were successful at that.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we continue down that path of collective effort to get
Mhm.
to someplace? So I think back even when I was in the military, I had my mentor, and education that helped me get to where I was, and also have my mentor in my military career, and being able to take advantage of both of those people are, helping me along the way was great. Again, not
Yeah.
putting one in front of the other, or focusing totally on one and then picking up the other. I was able to do those things simultaneously,
Yeah, you
and
could
I think
prioritize multiple things at the
absolutely
same time, like you said, simultaneously, and just propel yourself instead of just that one step at a time. It's
right,
like you've
right.
got multiple versions of yourself and they're all running at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I just again, even though we did, we've experienced this, we've done it, we succeeded with it. I don't think that we've ever really discussed how
No, we
how
haven't.
beneficial it
It's
could
kind of like
be.
the question, what's the template of success? And we've said there, everyone's journey is different. The
Right.
templates
Yep.
are different, but this is one of the principles of that template, I
Right.
believe, because you have to understand not only everything else that we've talked about in our multiple episodes, the self-reflection, the mentoring, the coaching, the, respectfulness, mindfulness, openness, and all that.
Right.
But you have to put that into a perspective or into your own template. But in order to do that, like you mentioned, we haven't really broken it down like this before,
Right.
that we are doing multiple things at the same time. I've heard people in the past tell me you're doing too many things at once. And
Right.
I look at where they're at today, and I look at where I'm at today, and I'm like, was I really doing too much? Because I did what I could, and look where you and I have, what we've accomplished and what we've achieved, because we're very deliberate,
Right.
about that.
Well, and I was just going to go down the path of you. There, a lot of times they are right that you can overwhelm yourself. You can't put
Yeah,
too many things on your
that's
plate,
true.
and just what you said right before I started talking is being
Mhm.
deliberate, being intentional. I
Yeah.
think that's the difference when you go into it. Again, you set a goal for yourself, and even if there's multiple goals you set for yourself,
Mhm.
as long as you're progressing toward each one, then you're fine. But again,
Mhm.
if you take on too many and don't take the time to figure out, okay, I've got these things going, how do I do this other thing? Then yeah, you probably are setting yourself up
Yeah,
for
you have to
failure.
know your own limitations, and
Absolutely.
and and each one of us is different and unique in our own ways, and
Right.
that's a good thing. So, this is just one of those principles that Joe and I were talking about just before the show about, what is this really, how did we really get to where we are? And we started discussing it. It's like neither one of us had just one mentor or one coach at a
Right.
time. We
Yep.
had
Yep.
we had this personal board of advisors that we would,
Yep.
hey, I've got a question about this. I'm going to ask these three and then
Yep.
formulate my own opinion. I'm going to ask these two or these five or just this one because I only have one of those mentors, and just assimilate and process the information and advice and the questions that were being asked by the mentors to fuel that thought process to make the best decision for us under our own circumstances based upon what we want and need.
Absolutely. And we've talked about this in past episodes about the idea of getting information from a number of sources,
Yeah.
resources, whether it's mentors, whether it's reading, whether it's
Mhm.
research. That is the idea of, again, applying it where it fits. Because
Mhm.
even with all the mentors, you may ask them, like Dave said, he had three mentors on this one thing. Maybe only one of the responses that he got is applicable to him. I
Mhm.
mean, so that's the beauty of, again, having a number of people in your corner, that personal board of advisors, because we said it, some things may fit and other things may not, but having that information readily available to you is where it's important, because
Yeah.
even down the road, you may ask questions today that's not applicable today, but 2 weeks from now it may be. So just
Mhm.
having that, you know, vast knowledge base at your disposal, people that can assist you, people that have more information. But the other thing that's very important to think about too is they can change just like anything
Yeah.
else. So again,
It
not
gives
to
you some
just
options
discard
as well.
people,
You
right?
might
Not
have
just
three or four different pieces of advice or guidance on one of the things that you're working on, and
absolutely
you pick and choose and
right.
combine to find and make your own new path
Absolutely. And that's very similar to, again, being on a team, on a project and having all this input and
Mhm.
then narrowing it down to one, plan or one goal or one objective. But you started with all these ideas and plans at the beginning. And that's very similar to, again, taking all this information from those mentors or advisors, people that are helping you, and applying it where it fits for you.
Yeah.
But I started down the path of, maybe you have a mentor for a short period of time, and not just to discard people, use them up
Right.
and throw them away, but rather, and you go into it. Typically, when you set up a mentoring mentee relationship, you kind of define what the goal or objective is, so that both of you know going into it, so that they don't, if you get a mentor and you use them up, or they
Right.
might feel slighted that, oh, you only came to me for that. So just that's very important too when you're building this personal board of advisors, that you don't just go and assume, hey, you're just going to help me for this, or I'm going to only need you for this, and then I'm gone. So it's really important, even though we're saying get as many as you can, help them understand, your goal, your
Mhm.
intentions, so that you're, again, not sliding them, or not, um, you know, marginalize
Yeah,
their
yeah.
their
Well,
their
using and abusing the
assistance.
privilege.
Yes. I just wanted to throw that out there too. That yeah, we say go and grab mentors and associate yourself with a lot of people, but
Mhm.
we're not saying that, hey, um, just use them up and don't
Right, right.
respect that relationship that you built with them. So I just want to
Yeah,
make sure we discussed that or talked about that as well. So
yeah. And I'd like to throw in that there is a distinction between coaching and mentoring. Those are two separate skill sets. Those are two different processes. For more information on that, you can, please look up our other videos and episodes, because we talk about and distinguish between mentoring and coaching. Um, Another thing that I was thinking about, when we think about, having this personal board of advisors is, I'm going to put this in a different perspective or from a different
right,
lens. And that is, let's say you have to have a medical procedure. Are you going to go to just one neurosurgeon who says, yes, you absolutely have to have all of your brain removed? Or are you going to get a couple of, second, third, fourth, and fifth opinion on that?
right,
It's like,
right,
do I really want all that gray stuff gone, or do I want to leave a little bit in there for a what if scenario? So,
right,
you can think about it, from many different perspectives, on the versatility of these coaches and mentors, because each person has their own skill sets, and some people have that broad knowledge base, and some people are very, very specialized. So again, you have to understand what your needs are, and understand what your journey is. And that's probably one of the most important pieces of this, is understanding what is your journey, what is your journey to you, and where do you want to be, or where do you think you want to be right now?
right. What are you
Because
trying to achieve?
yeah, what are you trying to achieve right now?
Yep.
Because believe it or not, that will change. There was a
Right,
time I wanted to do, something, and I'm like, now I think about that thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't go down that path.
right,
It's things have led me to where I am today because I followed the journey instead of dictated that journey. And I think that's an
right,
important distinction, you know, because it's not cookie cutter, like we said.
right,
As much as you and I are same, we are completely different. We are our own individuals, and
right,
we we've gone through some of the same processes, like education, military,
right,
but our
right.
experiences are completely and vastly different.
Absolutely.
So those perspectives that Joe and I bring are just that. As similar as they are, they're also very unique. So, I might say one thing, Joe might say something that's very similar, but it's still going to be very different in the same moment.
Right. So I think you brought up a very good point, and that is really understanding your journey, at least at that point in time, because going into it, finding mentors or coaches or people that are going to assist you, you have to be able to relay that,
Yeah.
because they may come back and
You
say,
have to be flexible. Like you've said so many
right,
times,
yep,
you have to have a map.
Right.
And then you also have to understand what your alternate routes are.
Absolutely. That's part of that journey and understanding where you are today. And that, because again, what I was going to say is you may go to a mentor and say, hey, this is where I'm trying to go. They may tell you, you know what, I see where you're trying to go, but I don't know if I'm the one that can help you.
Right.
So having that journey
I'm glad you brought that up.
defined, yeah, because you may think that person can assist you, but they may come to you and say, hey, I see where you're trying to go, and I
Mhm,
don't know that I can benefit you. So I
mhm,
that's why I think it's very important to have that defined. But also to your point, you also have to be flexible because
mhm,
we've said it before, even if we handed you a blueprint of our journey,
mhm.
and what we've achieved, you won't achieve those same things even if we gave you to the down to the last second of
Right.
everything we did to get here. Your journey's still going to be different, so you
Yeah.
won't be able to duplicate it.
Yeah.
So
It's
under
like you've said before. I could follow the exact same recipe and path and do everything identical to you and still have a completely different experience and
absolutely.
completely different results.
Yeah. So yeah, so I think again what you said is being, having that journey defined to that point, and then also being flexible because
Mhm,
we've said it before many times. You set out on even on a road trip,
mhm,
and a lot of times you run into detours, alternate routes because they're doing road work. So that's very similar to your
mhm,
journey in life. You got your destination picked out, but along the way, things change, things
mhm.
get in the way, barriers pop up, or setbacks. So
Yeah.
sometimes you end up having to go a direction to find that it's now a dead end, have to backtrack and
Mhm.
take a different route. So
Yep. And
that's
yeah, and I like where you're going with this. It makes me think of, like you said, those obstacles. What do you do? How do you get around them?
right.
And like you said, maybe you have five mentors and three of them are like, yeah, I have no idea or no knowledge with that. Or they
Right.
provide you advice and you're like, that just is not going to work for me, And then
Exactly.
the other two, they have a little bit of knowledge, but it's just enough to create that spark to help you propel yourself and again get that momentum back to go down that direction. And it may take you in a completely different direction.
Right.
We advise people all the time, do not limit yourselves to a certain industry or a certain career or a
Right.
certain process. Be open to the possibilities because our journeys are unique, and they're unique for a reason because now we can share those our journeys with other people to help them with to create their unique journeys and paths.
Absolutely. And I think I mentioned this maybe on the last episode or the one before that. The idea that, our roles as mentors is to help people. We share our experiences, so that they can, again, categorize it however they want or need to,
Mm-hmm.
where it makes sense for them. Again, they may choose the exact path, because that seems like it'll fit or align for them. But that's part of it is, like you just said, you may have five mentors, all of them give you some type of advice or suggestions and recommendations, but you may walk away only using a piece of
Mm-hmm.
any of that information.
Yeah.
But just having that at your disposal, is huge. Just, again, to help you see it from a different
Yeah.
lens, keeping your mind open to those
And
possibilities.
this is why it's important to have that personal board of advisors because some
Absolutely.
mentors may be great at achieving goals and other mentors may be excellent and just knock it out of the park when it comes to avoiding or overcoming obstacles.
Right. Yeah.
Other mentors might be great at efficiency. So, or the other ones might be great at processes. I mean, it's just there's all these variables, and that's why it's like we said, it takes a team. One person doesn't know everything there is to
Right.
know.
Right.
So you have to and I'm going to say you have to have multiple mentors throughout your career, throughout your personal life, personal development, your professional development, because that's what helps you achieve greatness, however you
Right.
define greatness.
Yeah, I think you said it earlier too. Limiting yourself, is at your detriment. I mean,
Mhm,
again, if you take the word of one person, you're only taking the perspective from one person. But
mhm,
if you get a collective group of people where you can get varying, um, examples or information, that's going to, again, help you
Mhm.
formulate your own plan, your own path that's going to apply to you. And
Mhm.
that's what's so important. We talk about this probably early on, defining what success means to you. And then based on that, then you start determining what pieces fit, what's going to
Mhm.
help you get there. So
Yep.
having a personal board of advisors is definitely one way to assist you. So you're not, we said it early on, you're not doing this alone. You're
Yeah.
getting information, experiences from people that have done it or completed it or succeeded. Again, their journey is different, but you might be able to utilize some of their story, some of their information that was helpful to them. Now you may be able to apply it to your own journey. So
Yeah. And one of the final pieces I'd like to bring in and talk about this personal board of advisors is, now that we've helped you understand that, this is not just a one person team. You have multiple advisors, you have multiple mentors. Now what you need to do is become one of them yourself. Be one of those
absolutely.
multiple
Yep.
personal board of advisors for other people, because that too is going to help you grow and develop. It's going to help you
Right.
stay sharp. It's going to help you keep you on the top of your game, because that's really what it is. You're constantly processing when you're in your zone to propel yourself. And part of that is helping others and bringing them up as you're being brought up, lifting
Right.
them. It gets back to what we said early on in the episode. It's not just one thing at a time. You don't reach success, or you don't achieve one thing and then flip the switch and say, okay, now I'm going to help someone. It's like you have to help people along the way, while that knowledge is current, while those skills are current. Because if you wait till you're done, the operating system you're working with on your computer might be obsolete, and the device that you
Right.
have is
Yep.
no longer
Absolutely.
relevant. So
Yep.
as you're moving forward in your personal and professional development with your personal board of advisors, you should be looking out for opportunities to help others to become members of their personal board of advisors.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like the way you likened it to a computer because typically the more information that we're taking in, we're probably freeing our mind of irrelevant information or information that we had in the past that no
Yeah.
longer fits
No.
us or anything.
Yeah.
So you're right. If we wait until we reach our goal or our milestone and try and go back, it probably won't be the same information that you
Yeah.
received at the very beginning. So
Yeah.
you're right. That's part of this whole journey is helping others along the way as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
So yeah, go ahead. We've
I
got
was
we've
just
got a couple minutes left. So yeah.
That's what I was just going to say. I knew it was getting close to time. So I just want to finish it again with, we talk about mentors, but I really like the term personal board of advisors just because, you know, people are advising, people are assisting you with those life decisions sometimes
Mhm.
that,
Absolutely.
can help you overcome some obstacles that you thought weren't ahead of you. And people may be able to suggest or recommend ways that you can overcome those things. So I think it's very important. And as we said before, not just one mentor or not just one person, but multiple, because we have all different aspects of our lives that we can improve upon,
Mhm.
and also that we don't have to do it one at a time, but we can do them collectively, simultaneously, as long as we plan for that, as long as we recognize our limits.
Thank you for, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, because again, we talk about the work-life balance, and so that's part of it. Just understanding your limits. I think that's very important in this
Yeah.
whole process.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, we'd like to thank our viewers and listeners for joining us for another episode of the Journeys of Not So Ordinary People podcast. If you liked what you heard and saw, or vice versa, I guess, please like and share. I mean, this is why we do this every week, is to put this out there to help everyone else around us that we may not be able to directly touch in our immediate circle. This is for the greater good, if you will. So get the word out there, spread it. Spread the word, spread the knowledge, spread the information. That's what we're here for. And with that, until next time, keep on being your not so ordinary you.